Can you imagine running out of food in a crisis? It's a sobering thought, isn't it? Now, let's get real about food storage. It's easy to assume the average pantry can tide us over for a decent amount of time. But here's the hard truth. Most home pantries with their canned goods and pasta packets might only stretch to a week. Tops. Consider this. The average adult needs roughly 2,500 calories per day to maintain health, particularly in a high-stress survival situation. That's a lot of food, especially when you're planning for more than just a few days. Picture your typical 20-pound bag of rice. Seems like a lot, doesn't it? But in reality, this would only last a family of 4 for about 5 days, considering that each person needs an average of half a pound of dry rice per day. So, if you really want to be prepared, you'd need at least 100 pounds of rice alone to scrape by for 30 days, and that's just the rice. Now, we're not saying you should only stockpile rice. Variety is not just the spice of life, it's essential for a balanced diet. Your stockpile should include a mix of proteins, carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, and fats. And don't forget about seasoning. Food fatigue can become a real issue when you're eating the same bland meals day in, day out. Let's not overlook the importance of stockpiling foods that require minimal preparation and water to prepare. Canned goods, freeze-dried meals, high-energy snack bars, these can be lifesavers, particularly in the early days of a crisis when you might be on the move or without access to cooking facilities. So it's time for a reality check. Stockpiling food for an emergency isn't about cramming your pantry with random canned goods. It's about careful planning and understanding the real quantity of food you need to sustain yourself and your family. To truly be prepared, it's time to rethink your food storage strategy. Water, the most essential element for survival, is often the most overlooked commodity in prepping. Let's face it, survival is a thirsty business. You're not just sipping at a water bottle in a comfortable office. You're exerting yourself, dealing with stress, and fighting to stay alive. Every day, each person in your household needs a gallon of water. That's enough for drinking, minimal washing, and, if you're lucky, a little left over for cooking. Now, let's do the math. For a family of 4, you're looking at needing 120 gallons of water, and that's just for 1 month. Storing that much water might seem daunting, but it's crucial for survival. And it's not just about quantity, it's also about quality. You'll need to think about purification methods to ensure that the water you're drinking is safe. Boiling, chemical treatments, and filtration systems can all be effective, but each has its pros and cons. Boiling is the most reliable method, but it does require a heat source and fuel. Chemical treatments are lightweight and easy to use, but they can leave an unpleasant taste and may not be effective against all contaminants. Filtration systems can remove most pathogens, but they can be expensive and require regular maintenance. And what if your primary water source becomes contaminated or runs dry? That's where redundancy comes in. Always have a backup plan, whether it's a hidden stash of bottled water, a nearby stream, or even the ability to collect rainwater. Remember, water isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And when it comes to survival, there's no room for complacency. Have a plan in place, stockpile wisely, and always be prepared to adapt. Because when the taps run dry and the supermarkets are empty, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Remember, without water, your survival chances dwindle rapidly. A basic first aid kit is a good start, but it won't suffice in a prolonged crisis. It's an uncomfortable truth, but it's one that we need to face head-on. Let's delve into why. First, we need to talk about prescription medications. If you or a family member relies on regular medication, it's crucial to have a stockpile. While laws vary, it's often possible to arrange for up to a 90-day supply. That's 3 months of essential medication ready for when you need it most. Remember, pharmacies might not be an option in a crisis. Next, we move to comprehensive trauma supplies. A typical first aid kit might have bandages and antiseptic wipes, but what about more serious injuries? We're talking sutures, tourniquets, and even chest seals. These are items that could be lifesavers in a dire situation. It's not pleasant to think about, but it's better to have them and not need them than the other way around. Over-the-counter remedies are another area often overlooked. We're not just talking painkillers here. Think about remedies for common ailments like allergies, colds, and stomach issues. These are small comforts that can make a big difference when you're dealing with a crisis. Lastly, let's consider vitamins and supplements. In a situation where your diet might not be as varied or nutritious as you're used to, these can help fill the gap. Things like multivitamins, vitamin C, and even protein powders can help keep you in good health when fresh food is scarce. So, let's recap. In a prolonged crisis, we're looking at a need for prescription medications, comprehensive trauma supplies, over-the-counter remedies, and vitamins and supplements. It's a lot to consider, but these are the details that could make all the difference. Remember, when it comes to survival, it's not about just getting by. It's about maintaining your health and well-being in the face of adversity. And that, my friends, means going beyond the basics. Being prepared means more than just Band-Aids and aspirin. Hygiene and sanitation are often the first casualties in prolonged disaster scenarios. When the chips are down, maintaining cleanliness might seem like a low priority. However, it's precisely during these times that it becomes a critical line of defense against disease and illness. It's not just about feeling fresh, it's about survival. Let's start with personal hygiene. Stockpiling items like soap, toothpaste, and feminine hygiene products is a must. Consider biodegradable options that won't harm the environment, should you need to dispose of them in unconventional ways. Don't forget about grooming tools either. Something as simple as a nail clipper can prevent painful infections. Next, let's talk about household cleaning supplies. You'll need more than you think. Remember, we're not just cleaning for appearances, we're battling potentially deadly microbes. A good stockpile should include bleach, disinfecting wipes, and garbage bags. Why garbage bags? Well, they're incredibly versatile. They can serve as temporary toilets, makeshift rain ponchos, and even as a means to collect and purify water. Speaking of toilets, proper waste disposal is a subject we can't avoid. In a crisis, your usual facilities might not be an option. Composting toilets, portable camping toilets, or even a simple bucket can work in a pinch. It's crucial to have a plan in place to safely dispose of waste to prevent the spread of disease. What about laundry? Clean clothes can prevent skin infections and the spread of disease. A simple bucket and plunger can serve as a makeshift washing machine. Stock up on laundry detergent or learn to make your own. Lastly, remember that cleanliness isn't just physical. A clean living space can do wonders for your mental health during a crisis. Maintaining a sense of normalcy and routine through daily cleaning tasks can provide a much-needed psychological boost. Remember, cleanliness is not just a luxury, it's a lifesaver. You might have a flashlight and a multi-tool, but are you truly prepared? When we think about survival tools and equipment, our minds often go to the basics: your flashlight, your Swiss Army knife, perhaps a sturdy rope. But what happens when the batteries in your flashlight run out? Or when you need to repair your shelter, but your multi-tool just doesn't cut it? Let's take a step beyond the basics and explore the world of manual tools. Imagine you're in a situation where you need to fix your shelter or even build a new one. In a pinch, a multi-tool might do, but for a more substantial project, you'll need a robust set of tools. We're talking hammers, saws, screwdrivers, wrenches, the works. And remember, these tools should be manual. In a crisis, you can't rely on power tools. Next, let's talk about the one thing we often overlook: cooking fuel. You might have a mountain of canned goods, but without a way to heat them, your meals are going to be pretty uninspiring. It's essential to have a good stockpile of cooking fuel. Think about it. If you're cooking 2 meals a day, you're going to burn through fuel pretty quickly. As a rule of thumb, aim to have at least 20 pounds of cooking fuel stored away, and don't forget to store it safely. Lastly, don't underestimate the value of a good shovel. Whether you're digging a latrine, breaking ground for a makeshift shelter, or planting a garden to supplement your food supply, a sturdy shovel is a must-have in any survival scenario. So, there you have it. The tools and equipment you need go beyond a flashlight and a multi-tool. You need a comprehensive stockpile that includes manual tools and cooking fuel. Living off your stockpile is not just about surviving, it's about maintaining morale and mental health. Picture this: the lights flicker and then nothing. Silence, the hum of the refrigerator, the subtle buzz of the Wi-Fi router, the ambient noise of our modern world, all gone. This is the reality of living conditions when SHTF. Life without our usual conveniences can be jarring. With no power, how do you cook? How do you keep warm or keep cool? How do you keep the lights on when the sun sets? The answer lies in managing energy resources. Think beyond batteries and generators. Consider alternative sources like solar panels or hand-cranked devices. Cooking without power is no easy feat either. You're not just heating up leftovers in the microwave or boiling water on an electric stove. You're cooking on a wood-burning stove or an open fire, which can be a time-consuming and energy-intensive process. And remember, the food you're cooking is from your stockpile. You're not just popping down to the supermarket when you run out of something. Then there's the isolation. The silence can be deafening. The lack of human contact can be unnerving. and the monotony can be mind-numbing. It's not just about physical survival, it's about mental survival too. You'll need to find ways to keep your mind active and your spirits high. Books, board games, and simple crafts can be crucial for maintaining morale. And let's not forget about the importance of routine. In a world turned upside down, the regularity of daily chores can provide a sense of normalcy and control. Wake up at the same time, eat meals at regular intervals, and stick to a consistent sleep schedule. Preparedness is not just about stocking up, it's about being ready to adapt to a new way of life. It's about understanding and accepting the reality of your new living conditions. It's about being mentally and emotionally prepared for the challenges that come with living off your stockpile. And most importantly, it's about maintaining your morale and mental health in the face of adversity. Because at the end of the day, survival is not just about living, it's about living well. Being truly prepared is a daunting task, but it's not impossible. We've peeled back the layers on what it really takes to survive when society's safety net is gone. From the startling reality of food storage to the often overlooked importance of water, we've uncovered the hard truths about long-term survival. We've discussed the critical role of comprehensive medical supplies, the forgotten essentials of hygiene and sanitation, and the need for robust tools and equipment. And let's not forget the reality of living conditions in an extended crisis. We hope this video has given you food for thought and, most importantly, a solid starting point for reassessing your own preparedness plans. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. Knowledge is the first step towards resilience. So take that step today. Remember, the best time to prepare was yesterday. The second best time is now.